Hi. Linda and I were talking with some friends from back in Omaha the other day, and they reminded us of a very powerful experience that we had several years ago. Right after Hurricane Katrina hit, Linda and I took a group of youth, some 24, 26 high school students, along with some adult chaperones, down to the Gulf Coast to participate and do what we could in repairing all the damage from the horrible hurricane. We stayed in a place called Camp Coast Care, which was a facility developed by the Episcopal Diocese of Mississippi and Louisiana, along with Lutherans in the area. A large steel butler building, we'll call it. And when we got there, we were the only people in this incredibly large building that could house probably more than 200 people. But our group of some 30 folks were the only ones there. And on our arrival, our task was to assign responsibilities for the upcoming mission trip, all the work that would take place in the coming days. Who would get to work on this wonderful widow's house down on the coast? Who would get to work with this young family to try to restore their dwelling place? Really an amazingly powerful inspiration for these young people to be involved with the families trying to resurrect their houses from the devastation. Then we announced to two young women, high school students who were part of the team, what their particular task would be. This was Aaron and Katie. And Aaron and Katie found out that night, as the tasks for the mission project were announced, that their task would not be working on devastated homes of the struggling folks in the Gulf region, but rather their task would be keeping the restrooms in Camp Coast Care clean. Upon the arrival of those other 150 folks who would be coming in the succeeding days. And when Aaron and Katie received the word, the information that would be their duty as they participated in this mission project, we honestly thought for a while that they were going to call their parents and ask for a special flight home. But you know what happened over the course of the next several days and weeks? Katie and Aaron dedicated themselves to their task, unpleasant though it might have been, unexpected as it might have been, mundane as it might have seemed when the announcement was made, but they dedicated themselves to making it possible for everyone else to have a healthy, productive time of rebuilding houses and refurbishing dwellings of people who were in need. And they became inspired and dedicated to that task. And there's a message there for us in Lent, and in fact in every day of our lives. If we can turn ourselves over to God's purposes and see that what we do furthers God's purposes, no matter how insignificant or distasteful it may seem, all of heaven can be open to us. There was a Jesuit priest back in the 16th century, Jean-Pierre de Caussade, who coined a term that's now known as the sacrament of the present moment. And he wrote, "If we have abandoned ourselves to God, there's only one rule for us, the duty of the present moment. We must be active in all that the present moment demands of us, but in everything else remain passive and abandoned and do nothing but peacefully wait the promptings of God." In the most mundane moments, the most seemingly insignificant, perhaps even distasteful tasks, if we can find ourselves doing them for the glory of God and for the sake of God's purposes, they can become glorious. Katie and Aaron found that out. We can too.